Bronwyn, let me ask you a question, baby. How many swipes on the black card is it going to take for you to buy your self-esteem back?
Jesus, let me know, but they show no fish. Yeah, say you found it, but she's still gonna hold on. They say you found it, but she doesn't want.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl Bonnie Scotch. Thank you so much for tuning into my video today. I wanted to bring you a review for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. This is season 5, episode 14. Y'all, we are 14 episodes in, and I have to say this about Salt Lake City. They have given us something every episode. Every single episode. Even the episodes that are a little slower, it still gives us something to chew on. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, before we get into this review, go ahead and hit the like button for me. When you hit the like button, not only is it a free way to support my channel, but it also lets YouTube know that I am here and that you all are rocking with my commentary. So YouTube starts to shoot my content out to other viewers just like you, an audience who ordinarily would not get an opportunity to connect with my channel. That being said, quick church announcement, I am very, very close to 4K. Very, very close. And for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Scotch Bonnets has been watching my content for longer periods of time, so that is pushing me out into the algorithm. I am so close to 4K. I cannot believe that I actually got 3,000 subscribers in a year. Thanks to you all. I love you all so much.
Thank you, 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 thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into this review. So we start this episode with Bronwyn on the phone with Todd, and then we jump to Heather, Angie, and Whitney at a water aerobics class, and they're like, so how about last night with Bronwyn? And Heather feels as though Todd is really mean to her, and Heather says that she feels really sad for Bronwyn. Lisa is now handing out Vita tequila bags. They're like these canvas tote bags with her favorite travel items. And in the confessional, Bronwyn is like, I appreciate Lisa for the gift, but also what would I do with a canvas bag? Now remember at the top of the season when Lisa told us that when she first met Bronwyn, she thought that, Bronwyn was really stuck up. She walked up to her in Nordstrom and she had on sweatpants, and Bronwyn was looking at her like, girl, who's this homeless woman talking to me? Who's this vagabond, honey? So that was really what it gave. And I didn't see that about Bronwyn at first, but now I'm starting to see it. So I know that this is burning Lisa up watching this, because Lisa, among these women, when it's just these women and not Bronwyn, Lisa is the rich one. She is the one that they all look up to. And now that we have Bronwyn in the group, she's changed the whole dynamic. Oh, and by the way, the passport cases that Bronwyn bought for the ladies in the last episode, the bejeweled, bedazzled passport cases, those were $500 a pop. Okay, so her gift ate Lisa up, and I think that is also a part of why Lisa can't stand her. So Meredith is in the back of the van, and she's sleeping, and they're asking if she's okay. She's like, well, I didn't sleep last night. And then Brittany revealed to us in the confessional and to Heather that Meredith was throwing up and crying. So Meredith needed to be helped out of the street onto the curb. Somebody had to hold her hand and guide her up the curb. Baby, when I tell you, Meredith was higher and drunker than a Cuda Brown. So Carell, shout out to Carell. Carell is always down in the comments calling Meredith inebriated. Oh, it was definitely giving that in this episode, without a doubt. So the ladies are all on the yacht now, and Lisa is sharing how Henry is making friends, and she's having a moment about her son. And so Brittany interjects, and she's like, guys, I don't like this because I shared some news about Olivia last night, and it was crickets. My feelings are so hurt. You guys are just so unsupportive of me. None of you are supportive about the good things that I mentioned to this group, And so Bronwyn says, well, do you like the idea of seeing your daughter, or do you like the idea of telling us that you have an announcement, baby? Baby, I'm sorry. Bronwyn ate that from me. She did. She zoomed in right on what it is, and she called it out. And Brittany is offended, naturally. She's like, well, why do you have to be such a bitch? Brittany, my problem with you is that you love these moments. You love to create these moments where you make these big announcements. And it's like, girl, what do you want them to do? You want them to grab a bottle and be like, pop champagne, oh, pop champagne, oh, that the deadbeat reconnected with her daughter? Girl, shout out to my Welch's sparkling rosé, honey. But anyway, I'm just like, girl, you love to have these moments where you announce these things, but it's like, girl, good for you that, you're making amends with your daughters. This is what you should be doing. You want cheers and claps, and you live for the applause and all of these things, but that's what you should be doing. You should be reconnecting with your daughters. Why do you want these girls to clap for you for that?
The other girls are kind of over it.
You want to be recognized for doing everyday basic shit that everyday mothers do. I'm sorry, I will never have any country for this deadbeat. I never will. Bronwyn says to Lisa, do you have anything to say? And Bronwyn feels as though Lisa ought to be sticking up for her in this moment because Brittany called her a bitch. She's like, we've been friends for 10 years. You let people call me a gold digger and a trophy wife, and this person said that I was terrifying. I don't feel like Bronwyn really cares that Brittany is calling her a bitch. I think she's making a bigger point about the friendship with her and Lisa, and how if Lisa was being called out of her name, she would expect for Bronwyn, expect for everybody else to stick up for her. And Bronwyn did make a very good point. Sidebar, the shades that Lisa has on in this episode on the yacht, I want them. Bronwyn starts having this breakdown, and she's explaining, like, you have no idea what I go through. You're not a true friend to me. You have no idea what I have going on behind the scenes with Todd, and infidelity and the way that he treats me and what it's like to, deal with somebody who's older and more successful. Bronwyn says a couple years ago that Todd was texting somebody on his iPad. Gwen went up to him to get something, and she saw over his shoulder. And when she went and confronted him about it, he bought her some makeup jewelry. It was a ring that had 5 diamonds with 5 new promises, 5 things he didn't promise when they got married that he should have promised her. You know what this sounds like? This sounds like old nigga finesse. This sounds like old school, old nigga finesse. So, she forgave him, and I guess they moved on or whatever. But Bronwyn is saying, I bleed, I cry, I'm vulnerable. There's the side of me that these ladies, don't know. And Bronwyn, I feel you on one hand, but on the other hand, I have to pull your card a little bit because I don't feel like you make it easy necessarily for the ladies to get to know you at times, because you act like you're trying to get to a better place with Lisa, and then you do jump off in her ass. You picked this fight with Angie and with Whitney, who they were clearly on your side, and I didn't really feel like that was necessary. So I feel like Bronwyn is good in this moment because she understands how TV works, but I think she is pulling from a real thread. I really do think that she is. I think that you can also tell that Bronwyn has internalized this infidelity, and it was a blow to her confidence. Sidebar about Bronwyn, I just want to apologize to the audience and anyone who may have felt that my comments in the last review were ableist or anything like that when I told Bronwyn to straighten her back and stand on business. I don't know if she has a health issue or whatever like that, but I didn't want anybody to feel like, I was being insensitive about that. I really didn't even consider that when I said it. I just, So yeah, I just wanted to apologize to anybody who was offended by that comment. One of my subs pointed that out to me, so I just wanted to make sure that, we on the same page about that, okay? And so Meredith says, do you think that he isn't that invested because you're guarded against him? And Lisa's like, yeah, I agree with that. Like, what do you think? It's like, Lisa, shut up. Like, the first time you speak is to agree with Meredith about some BS, about, oh, maybe you're guarded against him and whatever. Like, Meredith was totally blaming Bronwyn in this moment, by the way. And I just felt like, why would you jump to that, Meredith? I don't know. It just seemed really bird brain and really like male identified for them to do that on the surface. But then Whitney tells us something a little bit later, and we'll get into that. Bronwyn says, I feel like there is nobody who totally gets me or understands, who I am. And I really did feel for her in that moment, because I did feel like that at a time in my life. I do hope that Bronwyn allows people to get close to her. She says that she feels as though she's not enough in her relationship with Todd and also with these ladies. So Heather says to Bronwyn, I felt the same way that you did when I was in my marriage, and you don't have to take the scraps of, what is given to you. I feel like this is the first time in 14 episodes that Heather has given us a moment of value. Lisa is just looking at Bronwyn the whole time with a stone face. She doesn't look concerned at all. She looks completely vacant and empty. Angie is sharing a little bit about her marriage, and she's opening up to Bronwyn. Everybody except for Lisa and Meredith are being supportive in this moment. So they're all walking back to the van, and Lisa says to somebody, oh, Todd is really going to love that. What do you think about that? You can tell that Lisa is not being a supportive friend behind the scenes at all in this moment, even though Bronwyn just shared her heart, her guts. Lisa really, I don't think that she can empathize with anyone's feelings for real. I don't feel like Lisa has the ability to empathize. I don't. And I feel like people who lack empathy ain't shit. That's part of the reason why I probably don't really rock with Lisa. So the ladies are back at the villa having lunch, and Whitney, Bronwyn, and Angie are talking, and then a short while later, Heather comes and checks on them. Heather and Whitney are saying that they're siding with Todd, Meredith, and Lisa because they would want to be forgiven in this situation. They have been accused of infidelities themselves. So Whitney brought this up first, and then Heather kind of reinforced. So now we have Mary pulling up a day later than everybody, and we see a scene where she's taking Robert Jr. to rehab. I'm just so happy to see. It looks as though he's in good spirits, and he looks as though he is willing and ready to go. You can tell he wants to get better. He looks happy. He does look sickly, but he looks happy at the same time. And I was really happy to see this. Y'all, prayers up for Robert Jr. Prayers up for Mary, okay? Mary comes in and she sees Brittany, Lisa, and Meredith sitting there. Meredith is like, well, why didn't you come yesterday? Mary's like, whatever. And Meredith is like, oh, okay. I feel like Mary's letting y'all know, don't question me, bitch. Don't ask me no motherfucking questions. I'm a grown-ass woman. I got here when I got here. So then we see Mary going to Angie's room, and they embrace, they run to each other, okay? And then they embrace each other, and then they kind of do that hug where they rock back and forth. When you rock back and forth with somebody, that's your sister. Angie and Mary are sisters for real, and I love to see their friendship, and I'm just really happy to know that Mary has somebody in her corner that will really support her at this time. I just love to see how their friendship has grown. So now we have the ladies together at dinner, and the dinner is obviously sponsored by Vita Tequila. She has sweatshirts on the back of the seats. She has Vita in bright lights. She got a lot going on. So then Brittany is asking Meredith, are you okay? I know you were saying that you were tired. I hope it's okay for me to say this. I heard you were crying last night. Now, Brittany, I'm going to pull your card, because if you were really concerned, for real, you would have pulled her to the side and said, hey, is everything okay? I heard you were crying. What's going on? But you did it in front of the group. You knew that it would embarrass her. Now, I don't really particularly mind, but it's like, Brittany, you know what you were doing. You know what you were doing. Meredith says, I was upset last night. I cried, but I'm fine now. Thank you for asking. And she looks very annoyed with Brittany. She looks super annoyed. And so Bronwyn is saying, I heard that Glam said that you were crying and throwing up. And Mary is like, guys, can we not talk about throw up in this moment? Meredith is like, yes, I was crying because I was upset about the slut shaming. I did cry. Now, Meredith, that's not even a good lie.
Fallacy.
So, of course, now Angie gets involved, and she's like, what's going on, Meredith? What is the real issue? I always think that we're moving forward. What is going on? And so Lisa jumps in, and she's like, Meredith, I really feel like you need to stick up for yourself. And girl, shut your mouth. Didn't nobody ask you? I get so sick of Lisa always interjecting when didn't nobody ask her nothing. This is not your conversation. And this is why you got ate up at the table tonight. Because you jumped in, you opened your mouth, and then you got ate up. It's what you deserve. Lisa gets on my nerves so bad. She gets on my nerves real bad. Anyway, now Angie is saying, listen, Lisa, I don't want you getting involved. We agreed not to get involved in each other's things. And so now she and Lisa are going back and forth a little bit. Lisa's like, I'm just trying to help Meredith. Angie's like, but you're not being helpful. Why do you always have to speak on someone else's behalf? And then Lisa's like, oh, you just think you're a badass right now. And Angie is like, why do you feel like I'm trying to be a badass simply for having a conversation with you? She clocked your tea right there, Lisa, because you're trying to create a moment. Maybe you think she's a badass, but she's asking you a genuine question. And then Whitney jumps in and she's like, when it's about your feelings, you want us to care, you want us to listen. But when it's our feelings, you don't give a damn. So Lisa cuts her off and she starts turning up. And Whitney and Angie are basically saying to Lisa, you get to be the dictator and pick and choose when people get to speak. And they're right. And I'm so glad that they're calling her out, because I don't feel like Lisa gets called out enough on this show. I really, really don't. It's high time that they clock Lisa and get her together, because they never truly do. So Bronwyn jumps in afterwards and Lisa's like, everybody stay quiet. Bronwyn is like, excuse me, why does Lisa Barlow get to tell me what to do? So now we have Bronwyn, Angie, and Whitney jumping off in Lisa's ass. Y'all, this was poetry in motion for me. This was gorgeous. This was a beautiful scene. We needed this. So now, of course, Lisa starts crying because Angie is saying, you know, you have to give Bronwyn credit because she shared more with us in an hour than you have shared your entire life. Okay, so she's really breaking down because Angie has added this bit about, look at what Bronwyn is doing. I think this is a sore spot for Lisa. Lisa really just does not like being called out. She gets up, she walks away. She's like, I'm going home. I'm done. Mary is looking around like, I thought they were bringing dessert. And then we see a preview for the next episode where they get to arguing on the bus because Angie is saying to somebody, I know you're not recording us. And then Meredith gets up and she is leaning over and she's like, are you recording us? And she goes off into that like really high pitched voice that she does. But anyway, y'all, that was the episode. Go ahead and get down in the comments. You know I want to hear from you. Hit the like button on your way out. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, okay? 30% of my watchers are non-subscribers. Hit that subscribe button, okay? Hit the notification bell so you know when I'm posting. And I'll see y'all for the next one. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's something about this girl, man. From around my way. Ever try to hold back your